Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're at. We'll give it a minute or so here for people to trickle in. We know oftentimes we're working in back-to-back-to-back meetings, so sometimes we might need a minute or two between. And then we'll go ahead and jump into our session today. We appreciate you all for joining. I'm excited to take you through our preview into some of the AI that we're working on here at Infopro. Not only what we have launched live now, but what we have coming here soon in the future. So really excited to take everyone through that today. Vivek, if you just want to give me kind of like the thumbs up on when you think we should start running, and then just keep me up to date on time check. Just keep me honest. I know we have 45-minute schedule for today. We want to stick to that as good as possible.
Yes, so we are on the time, right on the time, and I think we can start. We have more than 20
Okay, check.
people in the lobby.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and jump in. Anyone, if you have like a colleague that's on their way, they're going to be late. Don't worry. Everything's going to be recorded today, and we'll share that out following the session. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in. Hopefully my screen is visible to everyone. I got the green light earlier that it was showing. So here we go. First and foremost, again, thank you all for joining today. We're excited to take you through some of the AI that we've been working on here at InfoPro and how we're leveraging that in our tools and technology. Really quick, wanted to kind of give you just a general flow, right? Very basic, very easy for today, nothing too complex. But first off, we're going to start off with just looking at what the AI roadmap is, just kind of an overview of what we have here. Like I said just a second ago, covering what exists today and is live, but then also how we're leveraging that into what we're doing tomorrow. Once we go over the entire roadmap, we're actually going to do a deep dive into our newest released tool, Guru, which is our the main focal point of our AI ecosystem. Anyway, our Guru AI platform. Dig into that. We'll even do a little demo of the tool at the end, a few different scenarios that we've lined out, and then hopefully, assuming all goes well, we will have a few minutes for Q&A at the end. I've done a couple dry runs, and I've sometimes got to 5 minutes. Sometimes it's been closer to 3 minutes. So we'll see how that goes today. But regardless, it will also still be open for Q&A even after the session. So if you have anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. That being said, kind of jumping into this, at first I was struggling how to kind of cover everything we're doing from an AI point, but I really figured the best starting place would actually be to kind of give you a little background on just where we've been in learning tech here at InfoPro. We've been really working and learning for the past 30 years, but since 2013 have really kind of jumped into the learning tech space, starting off with our learning management system, Unlock Learn, which we'll get into a little bit how we're leveraging AI in that shortly. And we've kind of grown ever since then, right? As the times have changed, as technology has changed and expanded, we've added to that ecosystem. Again, starting off with an LMS, then branching off and actually having LXP elements within that. Then during COVID, really working on hashing out a lot of integrations, building a performance management tool to help organizations that were shifting from the traditional office environment to remote and hybrid environments. And then now kind of moving into where we are today in incorporating skills in AI into that conversation, really driving us to kind of developing this AI-powered talent ecosystem to help an organization really manage the employee lifecycle from the beginning, when we're going out and looking for evaluating candidates, to their entire time in the organization. And so what that roadmap looks like kind of laid out is this kind of web that I've put together for you all here today. So at the bottom here, we have each one of the existing tools in our tech stack right now. And some of the like roles within them or the skills way we're leveraging skills within them to kind of meet this new skills based shift that we're seeing a lot of organizations starting to like really roll up their sleeves and dig into, right? As we kind of map skills to everything that's going on. Um, and where we're really leveraging AI is kind of allowing the ability to intake all this data and understand all of this data, and then share that data across platforms from, whether it be skills or business objectives, to really allow us to kind of like tie all these tools together and like it says up top here, be that common language to unify this talent journey, right? So what we're working on developing not only, and I'll kind of dig into each one of these tools and where we're laying AI into the existing platform and hoping to leverage that, but also building this unlock you layer over the top to kind of act as the glue that holds all of this together, and ties each one of these modules into one another, allowing us to seamlessly work with the employee across their life cycle from when we first identify them as a candidate that looks like a good fit, to 5, 6, 7 years down the line when they are a senior leader in the organization or working on mentoring others, going through the same journey that they have gone through. So um, just a good visual of what the whole roadmap for this looks like. Now, digging a little bit deeper directly into um, the tools themselves. First and foremost, within our Unlock recruitment tool, which is set to launch this quarter with all the AI functionality and capability within it, we're working and using AI to scan resumes and identify potential clients faster than we've ever been able to before. Actually, so far in like the testing we've done with our existing clients that we've rolled this out to that are part of our alpha and betas, we've been able to scan over 5 million resumes, which is a pretty impressive number. Now, what this allows us to do in scanning those resumes, it takes all of that input and runs it through this smart match functionality, that takes the verbiage within those resumes, matching that to skills that we've identified we need for this job description, right? And then allows us to really highlight certain candidates that fit that job description. And so far, it's been pretty darn accurate. We've had about 90% accuracy in using this scanning functionality to then drive AI created assessments where it pairs their resume against the job description and then generates an assessment with where we think we need to find gaps or where we think we need to dig a little bit deeper into evaluating their existing skills, right? So a lot of cool elements in where we're really leveraging the AI to kind of do a bulk of that work that we would normally have an individual, right, sit down looking over resumes or comparing that to our job description, able to get a lot of that work off the table there for them, reduce a lot of that manual input, to get more candidates through the pipeline faster, but then also use just streamlined automated processes, being able to fill out documentation faster, being able to run them through the hiring process faster, with AI and doing intake and just like completing paperwork, right? Expeding that time to hire up once you've found the right candidate to get them an offer letter out quick, get them hired quick before somebody else can do it. So really cool stuff that we're doing with the recruitment tool, again, and really incorporating that AI to reduce a lot of that manual lift, but also give us better eyes on more candidates. Now, once we actually have those candidates into the tool, right, we're moving them into like a new hire or they're going to be part of a team. Our Unlock Learn tool is, where they spend the next part of their ecosystem or their life in the ecosystem. And we're leveraging AI in here to do a few different things. Number one, creating adaptive learning paths, right? We're seeing a lot of that now, especially as it relates back to skills. So the system is doing pre and post assessments, especially if you're using the Unlock Recruit tool and bringing them in. We kind of have a good idea of where their skill sets are, where they might be really strong, where they might need some areas for growth. And we're able to assign content to that learner based on those skill gaps there. We're also able to leverage AI in streamlining some learning operations here, right? Doing things like being able to adaptively build out job roles and descriptions based on certain skills that you might want, based on certain proficiencies that you're trying to improve in a certain group, right? And leveraging AI to handle some of that, as well as being able to just ask it to do bulk assignments or ask it to, pull reports up where you don't even have to dig and sift yourself through the normal like reporting wizard that we would see if you're using, other larger platforms. So we're trying to take not only in improving learner experience with the AI, but also helping our learning teams out a little bit and getting some of the weight off of their shoulders. We know oftentimes LMS administration specifically is something that is like often it's times a secondary job role, right? Not necessarily the primary thing on someone's plate. So we have some cool functions in there to again reduce some of that lift. And then the last piece, and where we're seeing and where we have seen AI, be obviously hugely impactful from a business standpoint, is giving us better insights and analytics into the actual data and the training that's going on within the platform. So again, a lot of cool elements in just incorporating AI a little bit deeper into the learning journey from that standpoint. Now we're also working on building it into our Unlock Performance tool, which is our performance management system. Everything from connecting it to your CRMs and other platforms where we have all of our big business data to help with the goal setting and alignment, to be able to quickly pull in information from Salesforce, information from HubSpot, information from Power BI, wherever we have that big data when we're creating things like OKRs or SMART goals to really provide like insight and alignment as we're setting those goals. Oftentimes, if we have a disconnected goal setting tool, we're just kind of arbitrarily setting goals or what we think the numbers look like, kind of filling things out like that. This makes it really easy for us to do it all within one system and have the insights because the AI is able to actually prompt, certain objectives or certain goals based on what it sees in there, or prompt actions depending on where we're at in our OKR cycle even. We're also leveraging it in our conversations between managers and their team members, right? When we're doing performance reviews, AI, because it has all of this backend data in it, it allows us to prepare a manager better for performance review, seeing all the learning that they've done, seeing their performance metrics, seeing what happened in their last performance review, what skills they've been working on in the platform, and really putting together a comprehensive learning dashboard. So instead of digging directly into, oh, what was this, what was my last conversation, kind of like going off of the last time I met with this person from a management standpoint, we actually have a lot of like actionable insights at our fingertips. And then allowing us as an outcome of those performance management conversations to say, hey, yeah, if we're interested in growing these specific skills, or if you're struggling in this area, but we have some support material or we have some training to help you grow, use that and be able to assign a skill and allow the AI to then personalize what content it pushes down to that learner based on their framework. And then kind of tying into that, leveraging AI in our unlock career pathways, where we're not only allowing the AI to align skills to interests and put together skills based on job roles and allow departments to say, hey, these are the skills that we need, and kind of float those to the top, right, to employees within their department on areas of potential growth, but also leveraging it to identify through pre and post assessments are who might be a potential leader, right, or who might be just high potential in general based on things that they're seeking, based on how often they're growing, based on performance metrics, based on the feedback we're seeing from their manager, in really allowing all of this in a single career focus platform to kind of generate those recommendations and help give that employee opportunities for growth in the organization, right? And part of the reason in the first place that we separated this from the LMS when we first rolled it out is because oftentimes our learners are going to the LMS when they have when they're prompted. They have a compliance training that's going on, right? And they know they have to get it done by the end of the week. So putting it in its own platform not only allows us to kind of separate, your growth from just training, but it also allows kind of the AI to operate in a totally different silo while still pulling inputs from what's going on in, just general training. To allow kind of creation of a skill hub and help the learner along the journey in collecting, acquiring, and developing skills within the organization to help drive the business forward. Now, again, all of this is kind of tied together by our Unlock You development module that lays over the top as kind of the central force and connects all of these skills together with a big universal skills taxonomy that we've been through all of the resumes we've been scanning and job descriptions that we've been scanning have started to develop this huge skills taxonomy that we can really quickly work with an organization who wants to kind of jump down the skills rabbit hole in saying, hey, share some of your job descriptions with us, and the tool can actually start to develop really quickly some of like pulling out some of the skills that are common across certain job descriptions, pulling out those outlier skills where we need some additional sorting, but really help taking on a lot of the lift that organizations are seeing right now, and saying, okay, I want to move to skills, but the lift is so heavy, right? We need to go meet with everybody. We need to analyze all these jobs. We need to understand all the skills that we have, that we don't have. So we're, leveraging AI, being able to develop and intake all of that, develop those assessments based on the skills so we can do just general proficiency across the organization, what we currently have at our fingertips in terms of skills, where we need to grow or what we need to incorporate into our job descriptions, tying those back to roles, and then that general like cross-module skills, intelligence, and analytics, being able to look at everything from the skills standpoint, and again, pulling in all of those additional informations or making suggestions based on where we're seeing the organization head, where we're strong, where we might have opportunities for growth, and then also looking back at those business goals and saying, hey, where how are they changing, and how do we need to be able to accommodate those by again either bringing in new skills or continuing to grow in existing skills. So a lot of cool stuff there. Now, kind of shifting our focus into the more topic of the day is Guru, right? This is kind of the AI that is going to help drive everything that you just saw, kind of not only pulling in all of those intakes, but the interface that we're really putting forward to employees and to team members. We've developed Guru here as like not just a smart search or not just an AI agent, but kind of a guru, right? Which is why we use the term. It can do everything from helping me search for documentation to prepare for a meeting develop learning content, even coach me through things like leadership or sales strategies, which we'll dig into a little bit deeper as we're going into here. And really, it's kind of broken down into these six main categories of what really sets it apart from a chat GPT or a platform, a copilot that you might already be using. Um, First and foremost is really the fact that it lives with all of your content in it, and that's where its main source of information comes from. We have the ability to separate Guru out into multiple domains, and I'll show you what that looks like here to create these expertise like driven modules that it can pull from, but also that it's only pulling in the things that you want your learners or you want your employees to be able to see when they ask a question on leadership, when they ask a question on, what work have we done in this specific industry, or, tell me a little bit more about this product. It's scanning everything that you have and that you've loaded in it, and it's able to use those documents as resources and learn from those documents with guardrails that we work with you to set up to really guide the learners across whatever this request might be. Now, the cool part about it is Guru is not just typical intake output. We understand, and I'm sure everyone here has used some sort of AI tool at this point, but you really only get as good of a response as you give a prompt, right? And prompt engineering in terms of AI is kind of like this voodoo art, right? That it can either take a lot of iterations and asking questions to this tool to get what I truly need out of it. Or if I've done it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, right, and gone through the same process of, okay, well, I have to really give it all of this in order for me to get out what I really need. It takes a lot of iterations to get there. So with Guru, what we developed is actually a proprietary kind of coaching methodology that helps Guru coach the learner on how to ask it a question, right? So it really does the prompt engineering for itself. And that's broken down into the Guru acronym, right? First and foremost, it's going to gather context. And this is everything from asking for a little bit more clarification when the learner comes to it with whatever that request is, to also understanding based on wherever we have the tool integrated who that learner is, right? So you'll see when we click into my Guru later, it knows, not only that I'm Austin Smith, but what my role is in the organization, and it actually generates breadcrumbs based on that information to help me get to things quicker if there's like very common requests that someone with my role is asking, or very common requests that I'm coming to Guru on a daily basis and asking. It then gets a little bit more clarification and will continue to dig if it doesn't get the right information on uncovering the root cause of this request, right? Now we have fast path functionality. So if the request is very basic, hey, I need an NDA, or what is our vacation policy? It will just send me the document, or it will give me the information within the document and not necessarily dig into root cause. But if I'm asking it a question, like we have in our demo earlier, hey, I think I might need to put an employee on a performance improvement plan. How would I even know, right? It will get a little bit more information from me, like, well, what's the issue, right? How long has this issue been going on? So we'll kind of dig into that. It then, once it has that information, it will give me the unleash action steps. So we'll say, hey, here's what you should do. Here's how you go about it. Here is exactly the path we would take based on whatever guardrails we set up, right? And then give me additional options on, do I want to role play now? Do I need to dig into any of those steps that it's given me, right? Do I need help filling out a document? Do I need an actual document to fill out as part of one of these action items? So it really helps take that, take the learner to what the right prompt would be, instead of having them needing to come to the tool with the right prompt in mind, or having to go 4, 5, 6, 7 shots into the tool to get that right prompt out or to get that right response out. Now I talked about like the fast path experience. So depending on what request comes in, the tool can really quickly say, okay, cool. I don't need to ask you a bunch of questions here, right? This is what is a vacation policy? It is just a question that needs a direct response. So it quickly can identify that and share documentation or share, information based on that request. But if it is something where it identifies it needs to dig deeper, it's going to work with that learner and dig deeper to get them the right answer. Now, with the way this tool can be set up and the way we're able to segment the different areas off and create those like knowledge repositories, it can be used in a bunch of different ways in an organization. Everything from a leadership coach to a channel partner platform to help our channel partners get up to speed on, everything from our sales process to how you need to implement the tool to just general product knowledge training. It can be a great product knowledge repository for sales teams, customer support teams, or just anyone in the organization. We've seeing it used as a technology in HR help desk to handle a lot of those incoming questions that we see. Typically 60% of what we get via email as an IT team or as an HR team is things that can be addressed in a single email back, right? Or is more just like if I can pull from a knowledge repository and just generate a response, it's a great tool for that to help learners, get quicker resolutions and just guide them faster through the questions that they might have or kind of navigating some of the internal tools. Leadership training, sales training, and consultant onboarding, as well as some other areas that we're really seeing the tool kind of be picked up on when we bring in a consultant into the organization, or we have a few consultants working with different teams, allowing Guru to kind of be the central hub for how to navigate the organization or where to go find certain documentation instead of having them have to like lean on a certain team member, right, to get all of that information and walk them through that process so they can quickly get to what you had brought them there for. Okay, we'll come back to this slide. I'm going to jump into the actual tool now for a little bit. I just shifted my screen over. Hopefully everyone can see this. So now I am logged into my Guru, and we kind of talked about those breadcrumbs that we talked about earlier, right? Where right when I log in, I can ask it a question. I can, just jump into whatever I need here. But it has some breadcrumbs based on who I am, based on questions that I've asked it before, based on what people with similar job roles might be coming here and asking. So this is all prompted based on a few different segments, right? Which is how these breadcrumbs are generated, and I can just dive in and ask a question. The tool is set up to take voice, or I can just type it out. The voice is nice if you're like actually getting into like a coaching session because you can just talk to it. You don't have to type out all your responses. Sometimes it asks for quite a bit of information. So it really quickly allows you to get into that. I'm actually going to jump into kind of what one of those conversations looks like. So the example that I have here is a leadership conversation with Guru, right? So kind of more of a coaching use case here, where I came to Guru and said, "Hey, Guru, I have a team member who isn't hitting their deadlines. It's impacting their overall performance. I think I'm going to have to put them on a performance improvement plan, but I'm not really sure what the best course of action is, right?" And this is a use case that we see a lot with new managers, with like a manager who's recently been hired in an organization and they do things a little bit different than they were in their previous organization. So a pretty common, question here, right? So Guru comes back and we talk about that gathering context. It says, "Great, I understand the situation that you're facing. Tell me a little bit more, right, about that." specific team member, right? What deadlines are they missing? What are they doing? In terms of like job, what is the impact of them missing these deadlines? So I gave it a little bit more feedback here. Um, they work on the pre-sales team, so they're responsible for taking incoming RFPs, making sure there's something we want to bid on. But they've been kind of dropping the ball in terms of getting those completed in a timely manner and getting them back to our team so we can start preparing the proposal, right? So it's impacting our response to what could be some, good opportunities for us. So I came back and said, great. Um, now that I have a little bit of understanding, we need to dive deeper into this based on the information that you've given me so far, right? Have you talked to this individual before? What are some of, or if you have talked about, what is the issue? Like, have you been able to dig into that before that? What's impacting their performance, right? Also giving me some more options instead of just diving straight into a performance improvement plan, right? What are some things we can do? Can we provide some additional resources? Can we, be a better leader? Um, so I was able to share with it, yeah, hey, I've met with this person a couple times. I feel like honestly, it's less of a workload issue and more of a time management issue. Um, and it was able to share with me some time management strategies that it thinks could work based on guidelines that we have here in the system or time management strategies that we have approved of here at Infopro. So this database is all pulling from our leadership database. The cool thing with this is we can integrate, your leadership strategies and methodologies directly into this. So the conversation is focused on how your business operates. But it said, hey, here's some techniques. There was a specific technique in there that I think would work really well. 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, especially when you're doing a job that's pretty tedious, like scrolling through RFPs, right? So I said, I think that's a great technique. How would I present this to that individual? And then it gave me kind of a breakdown. Hey, here's how you set the stage. Here's how you would have this conversation. Here's how you set reconnects with them, right? Here's the benefits and kind of being able to approach this conversation from a I'm here to help you, right? Standpoint. Now it then gives me additional options from here, and I didn't go any further. But hey, do you want to role play any of this conversation? Right? Do you want to jump into any specific part? Do you want to start from the beginning so we can actually it can coach me and provide me additional feedback through having this conversation? Again, in a use case like this, if this is a first time manager and it's an uncomfortable conversation and they've never had to have one before, it's a great way for them to build some of their confidence before like stepping into that meeting for the first time and it being the first like time they've ever said these words. It's also a great tool again for if your organization says, hey, there are certain steps that you need to go through before performance improvement plan is even on the table. And here's what those steps are to be able to coach a leader through that interaction as well. So that's one aspect. Again, more of the coaching aspect. Now this is tied into leadership. We can do these for sales. We can do these for like specific on the job training, client success teams. So many different ways where we can incorporate your content, your methodologies, and build coaches specific for that or leveraging that. But we can also use it in some other areas. So here we have a sales guru that actually does a few different things. I asked it to do some, not sales, some learning. We have learning gurus as well that we have specifically for our learning teams to help them generate content or kind of use AI to generate content. So I have a few examples of that here. So first off, I asked Guru, hey, I have a deck. Can you create, this is great for like an instructional designer. Hey, can you create a 2-minute video for this deck that I have loaded into the system? Right? And it said, sure. Let me scroll down here. Here's what I would do for a 2-minute video. It gives me just some information on how long a 2-minute video typically would be from like a speaking perspective. I a little bit faster, so I'm sure I could squeeze a few more minutes or a few more words into 2 minutes here. But it kind of just lays all of that out for me, right, in terms of a good script for this, and all just by evaluating that document that I uploaded into the platform and working backwards from there. It can do even more than that, though. If I wanted it to, create a one pager to send to a client, it has the ability to do that and actually generate the document that I can forward to a client. If I needed it to generate a storyboard, right, based on some information I got from a department head that they wanted me to convert into e-learning, I can have it generate that storyboard here. So a lot of cool, more like time-saving measures for learning teams. And then when we're using it as more of a smart repository, it can also handle, really basic questions, right? That we might be getting from a sales standpoint. Hey, have we done any work in the medical field, right? And Guru will break down, yeah, we've done work in the medical field. Here's who we've worked with. Here is, the services that they've leveraged from us. Here is some specific projects. You can even dig into a little bit more and ask it for case studies, and it will pull, case studies for these projects up here. So a great prep tool if you're going to step into a call with a client, or if you had a sales team member that was, prepping before walking into a big presentation, you can use Guru really quickly to help service that. It can, even with the coaching functionality, get into role plays from this standpoint. So if I were to ask it, hey, cool, I was asking if we did any work in the medical field because I'm going to go meet with a director of learning at Merck, right? It can then provide me, okay, well, that's not medical, that's pharma, right? Here is some of the work that we've done in pharma, so some relevant case studies, and actually role play that conversation with me if I wanted to dig in a little bit deeper with it. So again, a really flexible platform that's been built to really accommodate learning teams, whoever they're working with, whether we need to roll out a guru specific to sales, or a guru specific to engineering, or a guru specific to customer service, to also being an AI learning tool to help with some of those more tedious tasks of generating storyboards, writing scripts, right? Being able to get some first level information out of it, or some first level work done before we get into the actual development of the content, and speed up that process as well. Now, jumping back to the deck, again, no, we don't have a ton of time left, so trying to make sure we have a few minutes for Q&A. We've had a lot of clients previously. The challenge with AI was, I don't know if IT will let me use it, and we're kind of a little unsure about it, right? Over the past couple years, we've gotten over that hurdle, and now the challenge that we're seeing with tools is, I'm not sure what work I have to do to get like myself ready to deploy a tool like this, right? The nice thing with a guru is, like, if your ducks aren't in a row, it's okay. They don't have to be. It will take any of the content that you have now, doesn't matter what file size, how well it's organized, what format it's in, even what language that it's in. It can intake everything, and we can create those smart repositories from what you have existing today to separate it off into those agents to support your team members where you need it. And then being able to build those guardrails and lay things like leadership frameworks, sales training methodologies, or sales qualification methodologies over top of that documentation, and kind of build out those guardrails. So when we are coaching learners through, okay, cool, we're prepping for a sales call, it's tied back to your qualification or your sales methodology. When they're asking, that PIP question, that PIP conversation that I had earlier, it's saying, okay, well, in our organization, in our leadership style, here's how we handle, putting someone on a performance improvement plan, or having conversations like this, right? Or even in the sale, or even in the intake for L&D teams. Okay, cool. We're going to generate a 2-minute video script, but here's the information that I want before we, actually generate that script or the additional information that I need to be able to generate a high confidence video script based on the document that you've shared. So really, we can meet you kind of wherever you're at in terms of what the content looks like, what the structure looks like, as long as you say know who that you need to support with this, we can help and really spin it up for you from that perspective. And the last slide that I have for you all here today is, specifically from a guru standpoint, if you liked what you saw today but wanted to see it more with your document or how it could serve your organization, we'd love to work with you in setting up a quick guru sandbox so you can see it in action. All you have to do is share any existing document with you, whether it's a sales brochure, just general marketing material, preferably anything that doesn't need an NDA. But if you do want to share some more technical documentation or get more in depth with the documentation that you share and you want to sign an NDA first, we're happy to do that. But literally a document or two, anything, we'll upload it into Guru and set up that sandbox and then walk you through the tool and then hand it over to you for a few days to actually play with it and ask questions yourself and kind of see how it might be able to serve you in your organization. So if that is of interest to you, reach out. We'll be obviously sharing an email with everyone just thanking you all for joining today, but then also having what you need to be able to take this up, right? Again, just sharing some documentation. If the first half of the presentation was more of what interested you and where we're heading in the tools and incorporating AI into those other tools and technology in the Unlock suite, also don't hesitate to reach out about those. I'm more than happy to demo any of those tools or share additional information. I know we kind of went really quickly through it just because of the sake of time today. But how we're leveraging AI and those other tools, or what those other tools look like, since we just gave some really brief screenshots for most of it. And with that, that's all that we have. Happy to take some questions if there are any questions. It looks like we did okay on the time. I know we have a few minutes left. We'll kind of open up the floor here if anyone has any questions. If you don't have any questions, don't worry. Or if you can't think of any right now and they come up later, don't hesitate to reach out again. These questions will stay open even after the session. Okay. I'm not seeing any questions coming in. And we're closing up on our time today. So again, if you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. If you would like a demo of Guru with your content in it, we will be sharing an email. Just reply back to that email and we will get you all set up. But thank you all so much for your time today. I hope you found it informative. And hope you have a great rest of your weekend coming up. Thank you.